Welcome to Spoken Love Podcast, where words don't just tell stories, they breathe them. Here we strip love and life down to the bone, unfolding our truths in rhythm and rhyme through dialogue that's part poetry, part confession, and all real. So lean in, let the silence between the verses speak, and join me for a conversation wrapped in poetry. This is Spoken Love Podcast. Chapter 3, Silence Between Heartbeats. New York, 2012. The Shift. The skyline had changed, so had Bri. Now 28, she stood on the 42nd floor of a corporate headquarters, blazer sharp, heels clicking with purpose. She wasn't just respected, she was watched. Her proposals hit like sermons. Numbers bowed in her spreadsheets. Leadership leaned in when she spoke. But success has its shadows. In late evenings when offices emptied and city lights blurred like tired eyes, Bri felt an ache, soft, hollow, where companionship should be. She whispered affirmations into her reflection, praying confidence into her bones. I choose me. I build me. I love me, even when the world forgets how. But loneliness doesn't forget. Evan. She met him in a boardroom, handsome, charismatic, polished like he practiced in the mirror. At first it felt aligned. He said the right things, touched her lower back when he guided her through doors, made promises wrapped in charm. They dated about a year. She tried to love him back, but his commitment stayed superficial. Late nights, canceled plans, vague excuses, and one night after another no-show dinner, Bri finally spoke her truth across the phone. A man who sees my crown should know how to bow to growth, not run from it. He sighed. You're too intense. No, she corrected softly. I'm intentional. They ended on a Wednesday. The city rained that night. A new love, a new life. Months later, Bri met Daniel. Gentle, steady, the kind of man who brought soup when she was sick and axed her dreams like they were mutual goals. He felt safe, and safety is seductive. They fell quickly, moved in, talked marriage. At age 30, Bri gave birth to her daughter, Naomi. 10 perfect fingers, 10 perfect toes. A cry loud enough to birth purpose in her mother's chest. Bri whispered into Naomi's soft curls, You are proof that God loves me loud. Life shifted, career on pause. Late nights became bottles and lullabies. Her heart felt full again, but some stories have cracks beneath the paint. Cracks in the foundation. Daniel changed after Naomi's birth. Distance, irritation, unspoken resentment. He struggled with her ambition, her climb. He loved the softness, not the steel. Fights ignited over small things, her schedule, her salary, her dreams. One argument cut deepest. You're too focused on building empires, he snapped. Bri stared, hurt, folding into resolve. I was born to build, she whispered. I just wanted to build with you. Silence. He didn't reply. The final straw came when trust bent beyond repair. Tears, counseling, promises made thin. At 34, Bri packed boxes slowly, heartbreak quiet. She held Naomi's tiny hand and walked into independence with trembling courage. Rebuilding. Motherhood matured her, heartbreak humbled her, success sharpened her. She launched a tech consulting startup working from home at first, laptop glowing after Naomi's bedtime. Contracts multiplied. Her CEO era was forged between baby monitors and investor calls. Friends marveled. How do you do it? She simply replied. Pressure makes diamonds, but faith shapes them. On Sundays, she sat in the back pew of a small Brooklyn church, healing in hymns and sermons that felt handwritten for her story. Meanwhile, across the country, Chase's tech empire bloomed. He gained investors, press attention, accolades, and with money came noise. Women drawn to his success, not his soul. He attempted relationships, but his heart refused to stretch past shallow waters. At 32, he almost married a marketing exec. Smart, gorgeous, polished, but surface level. They smiled more than they connected. Weeks before the wedding, she confessed she didn't want kids. Chase was broken. He stared at the ceiling in his empty penthouse that night and whispered, Lord, why give me dreams if companionship ain't part of the promise? He poured his pain into work, coding his heart into platforms, flipping properties like therapy sessions, but quiet rooms echoed loudest, and sometimes he found himself writing poems on napkins he later threw away. Crossing signals. When Chase traveled for a business event in New York, he stood in Times Square, remembering a girl who dreamed awake under neon lights. He considered calling. He drafted the message. Hey, I'm in town. Coffee? Then paused. What if she'd moved on? What if the timing was wrong again? He deleted it. At the same moment, blocks away, Bri laughed over dinner with friends, tossing her curls, living unbothered. But mid-laughter, her smile softened. She felt something, a tiny thread tugging. Spirits know. The almost reunion. At 36, Bri spoke at a women's tech conference. Her speech went viral online. Motherhood, money, and manifestation. Chase watched the clip months later, scrolling late at night. His breath caught when her name flashed. Bri Carter? He studied her face, matured, radiant, powerful. Not the girl from a Brooklyn rooftop, a woman forged by fire. He whispered to the screen, You did it. He drafted another message, saved it in drafts. Self-discovery era. Bri healed differently this time. Solo dates, journaling, travel, therapy, God. She wrote poetry with new depth, softer, wiser, weathered but blooming. Growth ain't pretty, it's cracked you open, so truth can bloom where ego used to live. Love interests came and went, but none felt soul-rooted. Friends insisted, You need romance. She smiled, I need purpose. Naomi, age 10. Now 10, Naomi was witty, vibrant, a mirror of her mama's resilience. She asked one night, Mommy, will you ever fall in love again? Bri tucked the curl behind her ear. If God sends someone worthy, someone who loves you too, then yeah, maybe. Naomi grinned mischievously. Maybe Daddy 2.0 is out there. Bri laughed, a sound she hadn't felt in months. The wake-up call. At 40, Bri stood in her office, CEO of her own thriving consulting firm, accomplished, respected, whole. But when the applause from her latest notebook faded, she felt it. A longing, not for completion, but for companionship aligned in spirit and ambition. She whispered into the quiet night, God, if love is still part of my story, guide him to me and let me recognize him. Across the country, Chase whispered the same prayer, different walls, same ache. A divine nudge. One evening, scrolling through LinkedIn, Chase paused. A familiar name popped up under suggested connections. Bri Carter, CEO, consultant, keynote speaker. His heart hit his ribs. He hovered over the message box, typed, Funny how life circles back. You look amazing. Congrats on everything. Coffee soon? Love, Chase. He hesitated, closed his eyes, and hit send. Across Brooklyn, Bri's phone buzzed. She read the notification, smiled softly, heart racing like teenage butterflies. She whispered to herself, Lord, what are you doing? And heaven answered in silence, but definitely with certainty. The story wasn't over, just paused. In Chapter 3 of When Heaven Waited, we witness Bri and Chase growing into adulthood, separately, painfully, and purposefully. Life pulls them into different seasons. Bri steps deeper into corporate success, motherhood, and heartbreak, while Chase builds his tech empire and quietly battles loneliness behind closed doors. This chapter is all about becoming stronger, becoming wiser, becoming who God always intended them to be. Bri learns resilience through failed love and finds her peace in motherhood and faith. Chase learns humility through almost marriages, empty achievements, and the realization that success means little without soul connection. Despite years of silence, despite new relationships and new responsibilities, the memory of what they once were never fully fades. Their hearts don't run towards each other, but they never completely run away either. Chapter 3 reminds us that destiny doesn't rush. It shapes, it refines, it brings healing before it brings reunion. And sometimes the greatest love stories are written during the years we spend finding ourselves. And just like that, another chapter closes. But the story of love and life never really ends. If these words moved you, share them, carry them, live them out loud. Follow Spoken Love Podcast wherever you listen, and meet me here again, where the dialogue stays candid and the poetry stays alive.